Yo, what's up? It's your boy Beastly Bator, and welcome back to another episode of the Bate Escape podcast. The podcast that get into all things soul, sexuality, and goon culture. Yo, what's going on? What is happening? I hope that this episode finds you well and goony and sexy. And I'm really happy that you're here listening to this new episode because I have a really special guest. I finally sit down and talk to Brother Bader. Yeah, that's right. It's been probably a 2 to 3 year long process. Again, I'm gonna talk on this podcast, and we finally do. And if you don't know who Brother Bader is, they are Afro-Arab male masturbating monk at the Temple of Phallus Palace. They are an edge enthusiast. Brother Bader is cool. He throws these big Bader parties at his downtown apartment, and they're luxe and they're amazing and they're sexy. And it's all about the penis at his parties. And we talk about a lot of cool stuff in this episode. We talk about the Phallus Palace parties. We talk about old school music. We talk about new school music, the new school that he knows. Um, talk about our Bator aliases and how he came up with that. We talk about a lot of really cool stuff. He came over to my apartment one day and I sat him down. I got him talking, and I'm so happy he did. Um, Hope you love this conversation. If you do, make sure that you follow, like, comment, subscribe, share with someone that you think would really enjoy a conversation about masturbation and all kinds of different stuff. All right. Let me know what you all think about this episode. Enjoy it. Later. This has been a long time coming, I feel, because I feel like I've asked you for the last year to be on my podcast.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Have you been counting the years?
No, but I feel like I've been counting the days.
All right. Well, it's been some years though, because you're on season what now?
I'm on season 5.
All right, that's beautiful. Congratulations.
You are a part of season 5. And I actually think we've like it's perfect timing that you're actually on this season, to be honest.
Yes, I agree. I feel like I'm in a place where I am agreeable to want to speak on a podcast.
Well, tell me why you hesitated for so long.
So I have something about me where I just don't want anyone to know anything about me. I love to stay enigmatic on the internet so that you can project whatever personality you want on me. And, that also comes with its own kind of weird, strange insecurities because you don't know what people think about you. But overall, I just prefer to keep some things to myself and thus let you have your fantasy of what my beta presence is.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. But I feel like also too, like I think like you were pretty I think you were just unsure of me. Or maybe even just like unsure of like my intentions of this podcast.
No, not entirely. I mean, I've never been on a podcast. Wait, I've been on one podcast that was like locked under Patreon, so I've not even heard it, and it was about gaming. So I think overall, yeah, I've just never had a long form interview, so didn't know how to go about it.
I feel like, but I think you have had, or you've like spoken on like Twitter chats and stuff. I feel like I've heard you be like on Twitter chats talking about like the Bader community.
Yes, but were those archived? Can someone go back and listen to them and play them? I don't know.
I mean, unless someone recorded them,
Absolutely sure.
like it's having them banked somewhere so they can like play it back.
Loaded your little cassette tape and recorded songs off the radio? Yeah.
Well, because you have a very seductive voice.
I don't think so because I have to hear it every day.
So you just don't think you have a sexy voice.
What?
Do you do like audio, like beta audio stuff?
No, because as I've told you, I do some voice work in the medias, so I would like to not cross-contaminate my voice in such a way.
But like when you're doing this media stuff, aren't you like putting on like accent and like changing your voice to like fit the script or like fit whatever it is that you're doing?
Not yet, because I'm not Robin Williams, who was a master at voices. I am booked for my particular voice and speech and cadence. So that's what people know and will hear in my work.
Are you a big fan of Robert Williams?
Yes, I'm very sad he doesn't exist with us anymore, but it's something that I later in life realized that, dear God, he had 10,000 voices. Why was he mostly just an on-screen actor? He should have been doing animation nonstop,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and you're right. It's sad that he's no longer with us. He's a very talented individual.
but just overall brilliant. So yeah, he also should not have limited himself to just animation, but he had a whole lot more going for him.
I feel like we need more. I feel like we need another Robin Williams, or we need more Robin Williams in our life right now. It's such a chaotic time that we're living in. We need more joy.
And there absolutely are, some of them just don't get the fanfare that they should because most of the time you'll get a top billed actor booked in a voice role or some other. We're in the time of self-made celebrity with the influencers and things, so it's hard to discern who has talent or who just looks cute and let's put them on.
Name them.
I don't keep track of who's going on with what's going on today. Like I've told you, uh past 2010, I don't know who's currently on the charts because I kind of stunted myself and said, there's a lot of music and the music is great already. I can't learn all these new names and faces and the sounds and the genres that actually sound like they regurgitated something from the 90s and 80s, but that's
You're not lying. You're like, you're really not in the know, bro.
okay. I'm glad you think so.
Well, you speak the truth because we were on remember we were on that road trip? We took a road trip up to some desert. Is this desert or was it a forest?
It was a forest in a mountain cabin, yes.
And I was just like, oh, like we should listen to like Sabrina or like we should put on some like new Gaga. And you were just like, I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, when I called them the nowadays hoes because it's one comes out every other day, and I'm like, God damn it, is this a SoundCloud rapper or is it just like a pop person that had a good hit and now they said, she's an icon, she's a legend.
And when I asked you who you listened to, what did you tell me who they were?
Oh,
Like what music you're listening to?
I told you I go into a lot more archival music. It isn't really archival, but everyone else is like, what is this? Dionne Warwick and Isaac Hayes are my go-to music libraries
Those are fun too. I love those divas. Those are old school divas.
all the way. And I'm glad Dionne Warwick was recently inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So
Do you watch SNL? Have you seen that one actor do the Dionne Warwick impersonation?
I think I did once and then I kind of just turned it off because I didn't want the perception to be muddied for myself that uh, because the reason that became a skit is because Dionne Warwick became very popular on Twitter because she likes to clap back at people, and people thought, oh, that's not even her. It's probably like a niece or something that controls her Twitter. But Dionne Warwick has always had a smart mouth, so it gave a lot of fuel and fodder to modern comedy media. So I'm like, oh, please, let's not think that Dionne Warwick is a stand-up comic. Realize that she is a years-long dedicated singer-songwriter.
But I think the skit is done really well. It's done with reverence. Like it's they're not making fun of her, but they're just really amplifying like how really funny Dionne Warwick. Accidentally, she's really funny.
Absolutely, and I love that for comedy.
Yeah. I don't think people I think people will be surprised to know something about you, and I've noticed this about you when I go to your can we talk about Phallus place?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of my presence in the Bay community now.
Okay, I'm just,
Did,
I want to
did
be
we
able to
introduce me? Is that going to go in a separate audio file?
um I'm gonna introduce you. I can introduce you now or I can introduce you in the post-production like we talked before.
Do it as proceeds best for you.
Well, I'm sitting here with Brother Bader finally after like 2 years. I feel like I've been asking you to be on this podcast for like almost 2 years.
Again, let's count the days. Let's get an accurate count.
And you're always so nice about it too. They're just like, no, no, I don't think the timing is right. Like, no, I'm not feeling you right now.
I've never said that. I'm very careful about my intentions.
You know what? That is something I've noticed about you. You are very I guess for lack of a better word, calculated.
No, diplomatic. Calculated has some negative connotations to it.
Does it? Does it? Calculated can be like, I think, no, I don't think so. I think calculated can be positive and negative or negative.
I think when people use it, they use it in a more villainous way, like this person is kind of plotting behind the scenes on you.
Strategic.
Yes, calculating is strategic.
Wait, that's the word I would use for you, strategic.
Okay, and I like that much better. Thank you.
Okay, so not calculated. One of the things that I think people would be really surprised to know about you is that you're very eclectic. You're a very eclectic individual. Like every time we go to Phallus place, like I'm always so intrigued, like with your setup.
Eclectic. I would agree with that, but I also think there's maybe a big sense of that in what I put out on Twitter and when I was also putting out videos in other little outlets. I mean, I've been around for some time, not always under the Brother Bator moniker, but I think I've always read as kind of strange, unusual, and not trying to be outright sexy with my material. So yeah, eclectic is right.
Yeah, because I like when I go to your place, like I'm always so observant of like your surroundings and you're extremely well read, I feel. Unless you've never read any of those books that I see around. But I feel like you probably have.
Yeah, I wouldn't put a book on my bookshelf to be decorative, even though, there are some libraries that are just like that.
Well, I mean I have a lot of books here and I just like I feel like I get really ambitious and so oftentimes I'll just have like things and I'll just people will be like, "Oh, this book, I can't believe you read it." And I was like, "Actually, I haven't gotten around to it yet,
Yeah.
but I will."
Yeah, I agree. I love a good doorstop book.
You also love a good doorstep magazine.
Yes, I had stacks of fashion magazines when I was a teenager, especially because I never had modeling aspirations. I just really loved the mechanics of the runway, the casting, the designers, like who's a fit for this campaign, etc. So,
That's so interesting because I feel like I was the same way too.
yeah, I just loved stacking up on the idea of maybe one day I'll be sitting front row at a fashion show and I'll know all the names.
Yeah, yes, that too. I think for me it was like magazines, like entertainment Do you remember the magazine Premiere magazine?
Premiere Magazine was it an entertainment magazine, or was it what genre did it focus on?
It was entertainment. I feel like it was like film. Well, it was film, art, fashion, but it was like they always had like an actor on the cover, and so they would interview like an actor.
No, can't say I ever read that one.
It was around back in the day, but I was huge. Like it was a big one that I would always look in. I remember like having like I was the gay who would like cut out pictures and like post them on my wall.
Yeah, I only did that with J14 when I was a really stupid teenager, and I loved all the little spreads of like who was the teen heartbeat. Yeah.
Did you what like what was this magazine's was it Bop? It was what was the teen magazine where it had all like all the heartthrobs on them?
All horrible names. Yeah, it was definitely like Teen Bop. J14 is the one I remember. Maybe Tiger Beat, or I'm mixing that with the gay club. That was Tiger Heat.
Do you remember the gay one? Was it XY?
Yes, XY magazine that was supposed to be like the magazine for teen gays, or maybe we all just decided it was, but it was like really kind of sexy photo shoots and
Yeah, and it was a bunch of like white boys.
yeah, all the time.
I remember like seeing that magazine and then just like not being interested because I was just like, oh, like I don't think I'm being like represented in this at all. So like, why am I going to waste my money buying something that doesn't have someone that looks like me a part of it?
Confidently, I can say I would go to the bookstore that had the magazine rack and I would take it and walk out of the store with it. I never paid for
Good for you.
it.
Also, too, like I feel like so then I went to school for photography, and then I was always buying like really expensive magazines. Like I would have no problem spending like shelling out like 35 or 40 bucks for like a European fashion magazine.
Yeah, definitely relatable. And for me, I would always love to go to not quite the sex shops, I would say maybe a hobby store. Well, in gay neighborhoods, you can always find the vintage magazines, and those are the ones I'd always seek out because even uh not the porn material of it, I would just be looking at it going, "Wow, this photography is really fucking good." Like photographers were here to showcase how beautifully technical they were in their photography fields. And then also, this is a really great picture of a naked man.
No, it's true. That's I feel like that's why, well, that's really what it was inspired me to go to photography school because I was like, oh, I really want to do this. Like, I don't think I had aspirations to be the model, but I was just like, I was so fascinated with how much work it took to actually get the shot. And I don't think people really well, back in the day, I mean, people understand it now because obviously, like, people are in the age of influence, and so they're have a better understanding of like all the mechanics and like all the equipment that you could possibly need. But like back in the day, like no one knew the behind the scenes of anything. And so I was always so fascinated to learn that it would take like 8 hours to get like the one single shot.
Yeah, for sure. You literally just went, oh, well, I got the magazine and here are the pictures. And why would you ever think about the huge production aspect of that?
Yeah, and so I think I was more fascinated with that. Yeah, and it was interesting. It's hard.
How hard is it?
It's really hard.
I like it a little soft, but yeah, let's go with hard.
I don't think you like it soft.
No, 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 no. I really love to see a limp, floppy penis constantly. Please show that to me.
Let's talk about all the penises that you've like have seen in your lifetime.
I don't think we have time in the space of this recording.
Okay, fine. So then we'll talk about all the penises you've seen when you hosted at Phallus Place.
So at the Phallus Palace, um,
Excuse me.
let's see. I have at current maybe 72 Bators in my phone book who are on the contact list. I text everyone individually when the week is coming up to put on an event. And then maybe on average, at least 30-ish will show up on the day of. This last one was a little unexpected, and I kind of had to turn some people away because my max capacity is 50 people. I host in my own home, which is a generous space in a downtown loft apartment. So, it can accommodate more than the usual, but 50 is as much as I want to deal with in my own home.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot. And so at the time of this recording, we're like recording around like Halloween time. Well, Halloween just passed. It was literally yesterday. Um, but you hosted a Halloween themed Phallus Palace jerk off party.
Yeah, that was the intention. It kind of did not quite go that way because not everyone wants to wear a mask full time while they're masturbating, but it was only about the little photo opportunity aspect when I heard people into the center hallway and go, "Hey, completely voluntary. Whoever brought a mask, put your mask on, and we're gonna take a picture of your little Halloween mask with all your dicks out. Here we go."
Well, that's funny because when you told me that it was going to be a Halloween themed party, that's exactly what I envisioned. Like I just thought everyone's going to be sitting around with like a Halloween mask, just like masturbating, and wouldn't even see who each other was.
Could you imagine what a haunted house that would be?
It was huge. I think it was probably one of the biggest parties I'd gone to that you'd hosted there.
I think so. I have the little handbook of all the tally marks I make, so I definitely do have an overall head count, but I'll have to go back into the book archives and see if this was the highest attended.
Have you ever thought about having a career in production?
No, because I don't actually want to deal with that every day of my life. The job never stops.
You do it now. Like I just feel like, come on, 72 people, and you individually text them all. That's like heavy production work, bro.
But listen, I decide the dates. I'm not answering to anyone else. It's entirely my one-man operation. So if I say, "Hey, this whole month it's not happening," I don't have to deal with that stress.
Yeah, but you do it well when it does happen. That's what I'm saying. Basically, it's a compliment.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Someone else has also said this to me because he works in a bigger company, and he was like, "My God, like what you do is
Yeah.
absolutely what the producer's doing." And I'm like,
Hmm.
I would never do that nonstop all day. They take that work home with them constantly.
This is true.
And at the same time, I'm hosting in my own home. So I've got the work with me until it happens. But still, again, I decide the dates. I'm my own boss. And that's what's great for me.
Yeah, you call the shots and you decide what it is. But still, like I feel like you've done it for so long. When did you host your first Phallus? Phallus Day Party? Do you remember?
So on this scale, I think it was at the end of or maybe it was the start of 2022. I'd previously had smaller little close quarter groups that didn't exceed 10, and once I realized I could, well, I always could accommodate much more, but it was a matter of, do I really want to deal with hurting all those people? Because I live in an older gated building, I can't buzz people in. I have to go out and bring them all in as they arrive. And I've had some kind of drawback from that from people. I previously only hosted my groups that were men that I had known for years because, you want to trust people inside your house. You don't just want randoms knocking on your door and going, "Hey, I'm here." So I think I've been hosting this consistently 2 dates a month for the past 3 years now. What was the original question?
Oh, is that curious to know like when these parties even started?
So at large, how it's been going now, it's definitely been either late 2021 or early 2022. But I've been hosting bait group get-togethers since some time since I've been an independent adult. Maybe I can't put a year on it.
I feel like this is true, and I feel like I've been, or maybe I don't know, maybe you they were bigger before I've ever met you, but I feel like once we started talking IRL, you had invited me to like smaller parties. I remember going to like maybe like a party of yours, and it was only like 6 people.
Yes. So the first time you and I met in real life, face to face, I believe it was a smaller circle group. I was house sitting for my friend in Little Tokyo and house sitting only because he needed his plants watered. It was really funny. So in any case, he knows a baiter and I'd also brought him into little bait circles. So he was like, "Oh yeah, if you want to have some guys over, let them know." I think he was there at the time of which you came over. And yeah, exactly. That was only 6 people. So yeah, yeah, you and I met before Phallus Palace at large formulated.
Oh, that's fun. So I feel like I've been around since the beginning.
Yes, indeed.
That's hot.
Although you didn't make it to the first few sessions, I had to kind of herd and groom you. Oh, is that word off limits now? Do we not use groom?
I guess it depends on the context.
Yes, okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you did. Yeah, I feel like you did have to coax me a little bit, only because I get a lot of anxiety around big groups, especially when they're unfamiliar to me. And I think in the process of attending your parties, I have become really familiar because you see the same faces.
Yes, that's something that I always try to exemplify to people that I am introducing to the group for the first time. I always start that off with, "Hey, it's not just come one, come all random faces." And it's not like I'm turning people away at the door because I don't like them. It's I do want to establish a bait connection with you before I invite you into my home. So yeah, 90% of my group are guys that I have met over the years of my adult sex life, of like these are baiters that I've known for 10, 15 years, some of them.
Yeah.
So to get them all together in this group, create this collective, introduce them to each other to where they're all familiar with each other and they all look forward to seeing each other at this event is really gratifying to me. And that's how I always present it to anyone who I newly invite to the group. Like, these guys are familiar with each other. It's really just a really great hangout for baiters. Like, you want to get to know each other. If you don't have a direct conversation with someone, because there's lots of room in my place where you can kind of break off and just take a break from the baiting and speak to someone casually.
Mhm.
A lot of guys still come up and refer to me and go, "Hey, can you maybe introduce me in a little more closer quarters to so and so, because we had a bait and then we didn't get to swap numbers, but I would really love to meet him one on one off this." And I'm like, "Great, go make those connections, but at the same time, uh do it at the group so I don't have to do this micromanaging of matchmaking for you."
Yeah, you're definitely not a matchmaker, but I feel like I've done that before. Like I will go to a party and maybe I'm like too shy to like talk to someone, and then I'll come back to you after the fact and be like, "Hey, who was that? Was that cutie in the corner wearing that thing? And you're just like, oh, and then you'll just pull up a picture and be like, this person. I'll be like, yeah.
But at the same time, I also keep telling you get better at the descriptors because you love a vague. Uh, the guy with the fat ass. I baited with him.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad at describing people. But I don't know what it is, but you always have a sense of who I'm talking about, and you inevitably will like pinpoint who that person is.
Yes, and that's also because oh god, I hate saying this.
There are a lot of betas that go to your party with fat asses, and I'm just like, oh, that's a lot of bait fuel going on.
And that's why I have that kind of blowback at you. Like, yeah, there's a lot of fat asses, there's a lot of huge dicks. You can't just say the one thing that can apply to a couple people.
This is true. I feel like you do have a lot of you have a lot of sexy people that attend your parties. Is that intentional?
Yes, but you know, they're sexy for there's something for everyone, you know, not what I find sexy is what everyone else finds sexy, but I look at baiters first and foremost as like if you're here for that penis bond and you understand that, that's what makes you sexy to me. And then when I introduce you to this collective, someone else is going to look at you and go, that is the bait bro for me. Like, where did you find him? I'm so glad I'm here because now I ran into him.
You know what? I will say that's true about you, and I feel like the reason why I keep coming back to your bait parties is because you do a really good job at exemplifying the baiter brotherhood spirit. I feel like you do a good job at curating a space that is very welcoming, that is very diverse, and yeah, you're right. It's like there's a baiter, there's something for everyone to look at, um, and I think that makes it more of a comfortable, safe space.
Yeah, and I mean it's very intentional because there have only been two instances where someone has said aloud to me, "Hey, I liked coming to your bait group, but I thought all the guys were gonna, you know, be like you, fit and essentially said something like big dicks and so if you have a party like that where it's all guys like that, then I'll come back to it again."
Who said that to you?
He doesn't come there anymore because I said, "I'm glad you enjoyed yourself the first time. Please don't come back."
That is wild. I cannot believe they asked you to do that for them. Who the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, how gross is that entitlement?
So
Like,
gross.
I put on this entire production and you're like, well, you should make a party for me and my preferences.
Yeah, like who the fuck are you? Like, bro, you're lucky you got the invite.
Yeah, and funny thing, he had a 12-inch dick, so you know, he thinks that that just means you're supposed to bow down to it.
That is bizarre. Like this idea that like a beaters all loves like this one thing and that, you know, you're gonna inevitably come into I mean, I guess you could. I mean, it's true. Those exist. I see them on Sniffies all the time and they're just very like uh what was I trying to say? They're just very like they're very intentional with the type of people that they wanna basically it's just like a bunch of white WeHo bros.
Yeah, I love find a profile that says know this, know that, know this, know that, know this, know that, and never gives you any kind of idea of what they're actually looking for. But if they do, they will give you a laundry list of what they're looking for, which is their idea of Prince Charming. So
Well, now,
don't give yourself these highbrow expectations because you never know who you're going to really resonate with. And I find this especially true in the beta community. Like you don't know whose mind, whose physicality is really just going to like touch your penis and set off all the fireworks in your head.
no, I completely agree, and I think that's why I think that's the thing about your parties. Like, I just feel like you go there and you're just like meeting. You're looking at like everyday people, like everyday men, like that are enjoying this thing that we all have in common, like-minded, sexy individuals.
Yes, it's
Average average Joes, those are hot.
to me, everyone is an everyday man. We all exist in the same world. But yes, of course, annotation. There are definitely some of the rock stars that, some people will kind of hover all around, hoping, let me touch your penis today because you're getting a lot of attention. Please let me touch your penis. And some of them are also really great at the fact of they will specifically look for wallflowers, a guy who's kind of off to himself and scared to engage with the crowd, and then they'll be the person to go grab up on him and bring him into the fold
Yeah, no, those are good people.
all the way. And like I try to do that myself, but as a host, I'm managing herding people in, so I don't always get to pay all that kind of personal attention to everyone.
All right, just for anyone that's interested in going to his parties, just know that like Brother Beta like never baits at his own parties. Not because he doesn't want to, because I just feel like you're always constantly so busy and distracted and like facilitating a really nice event.
I need you to retract that because when everyone is actually in the door within the time limits, that's when I take off my pants and I absolutely do masturbate at my own events. I don't always get to ejaculate because I'm a long form edger in general, but yes, I absolutely have to touch penis at my own event.
No, this is true. Like I do think you do have like you do have specific rules that people need to abide by, and it's only because you need to facilitate it, and so it's a struggle for you to like work outside of those parameters. But it's true. You do get naked. I do see you naked at your parties.
I mean, but yes, there are absolutely some times that I did not go in and fully engage in the way that I want everyone else to engage. I mean, I think there was one time when I did get naked, but I also had brought like cheeseburgers and I was like, I haven't had lunch, so I was just eating naked, watching everyone masturbate.
Wait, you had cheeseburgers at an event? Why wasn't I invited to that one?
I think you were having one of your sleeper periods, that's why.
That's a really nice way of um talking about my antisocial depressive episodes.
I'm not an expert on mental health, so I use very wonderfully polite language.
No, it's fine. Everyone knows that I'm depressed. I talk about it a lot. Only because I want visibility and transparency, because I just feel like, you know, a lot of people in our community have mental health issues or just mental health in general. And I'm an advocate of that. So it's like talk about it reduces the shame for me and the stigma.
And that's right, and that's wonderful for your overall growth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You and I feel like have a very interesting relationship.
I'm trying to figure out what you mean by that. A weird little vaudeville act. Do you remember vaudeville? Are we that old?
I know what vaudeville. I don't think you need to be old to know what vaudeville is. Just have to be like educated.
I don't know. I see people all the time on the social medias when someone plays a movie clip and they're like, "What show is this?" Like it's not some movie from the 90s that everyone saw, but then I forget that everyone was born yesterday now.
No, you're right. I feel like, yeah, no, you're right. I feel like Gen Z might not necessarily understand what the fuck. But then I'm curious to know, like, what are they even teaching in school these days? Like, are they even, like, what's history about? Like,
I don't know. Do you remember that show? Are you smarter than a fifth grader, sixth grader?
I do remember that show.
So I always think that they're just so much more advanced in everything, but at the same time, they're also being accused of like using the AI chat GPT to write their papers, and their teachers are always screaming at them like, "You think I can't tell this is an AI written essay?"
But see, like, only the smart ones will know that you have to, like, edit the shit.
Yeah, I used Chat GPT twice to summarize some writing that I've done. To like, I wrote a whole thing and I said, "Now summarize this in 5 sentences for me." And then it had given me so much strange word salad. I was like, "Eh, how does a kid in school read this back and think that they could pass this off as their own language? I guess they just don't read the papers."
No, people are reading their phones. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I mean, that's why, like, newsprint media is dead, right?
Newsprint media is dead. Yes,
Like, who's reading the newspaper?
I absolutely am in the camp of social media has destroyed our attention spans. So people are like, if I can't listen to a TikTok person summarize it for me in a TikTok video, I don't know what the news is. I don't know what the current event is, and I'm not of that generation, so I can't relate.
No, you totally agree. I was at my office. It's all these young kids, and I was talking about a movie, and they were just like, no, I've never, why does it keep doing that? The camera keeps like blurring out, like it'll blur on you, and then your skin looks really good though.
Thank you. You used the really good ring light, and I guess it just voids all my otherwise blemishes and things.
I also too have like the face filter on, so like
Oh,
zoomable.
excuse me. I thought I just looked cute on camera.
That's why I constantly look good on camera because it's like it blurs all my blemishes.
Okay, beautiful.
What were we talking about?
Oh, we were talking about attention spans, but there we go. We
Oh,
went off on our own tangent.
so yeah, so like I was just like, oh, have you seen this movie? And this young girl, she's probably in her early 20s, just like, no, it's too long. And I was like, oh, the movie itself, it's only like an hour and 30 minutes. She's like, no, 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 movies. Like movies are too long. And I was like, oh, then like what do you watch? And she's like, TikTok.
Yeah, I've heard that sentiment. And again, that's where I was going with, someone posts a clip of a movie and then someone asks, what show is this? What movie is this? But then they have no intention of watching it. They just want to know that now they have the reference because they saw 15 seconds of it.
That's why I'm surprised like the movie industry is still like a thing. Like who's watching movies these days?
I think the superhero genre is like solo-handedly taking care of box office, no?
Well, I mean, to me, like superhuman, like super movie, super, super, what the fuck?
Batman movies?
Super, I was gonna say superhuman, superhero, like Marvel and all that shit. To me, like it's just eye candy. Like it's just shit blowing up, and like I was just watching it the other day, and I was just like, man, how fun would it be to be like an animator or like a digital like people that create like these giant monsters. Like I was watching like these clips of Godzilla on YouTube, and I was like, oh, that must be really fun, like as a person who creates these things.
I mean, I have to say the actors must have the greatest imaginations in the world now because they're all just standing there on their green screen or their blue screen going, okay, now you're flying around the city and it's being destroyed and you're going to do three triple flips. So we're going to put you on the wires, but we don't really have the budget for this. So pretend that Godzilla is coming after you and then scream and then jump and then who's the wizards, who's the witches, who's the Scarlet Witches, the Marvels, the Batmans, the DCs, and the Storm and the X-Men. I don't know. I don't know. I just think the actors are so good for being able to stand there and let things be CGI'd around them.
Speaking of witches, have you seen Agatha all along yet?
No, I told you I've got this huge stack of media I'm trying to catch up on. I need to watch WandaVision again because I watched it when it came out, but now I need a refresher course before I watch Agatha.
It's good. I just finished the series.
Yeah, I heard it got really queer, right?
I feel like it's been pretty queer the entire time, but it like the last two episodes gets really gay.
Okay, and that's so beautiful for our media because I think even some of the earlier movies had like what, a passing reference that someone might be gay and then they get banned in China because they freak out like it's going to ruin the box office there.
I mean, Agatha herself she's pretty queer, man.
And
She's a fucking witch.
and maybe that's part of the streaming media. They have a little more lenience there as opposed to the big box office movies.
Yeah, but I feel like Disney's getting a lot of shit. I think the right wing was just like, oh, you're gaying up Disney.
Don't care. Let's see them boycott Disney. Are they going to stop using their little season passes? Because there's a whole culture around that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whatever. Representation, man.
Disney gaze is an industry, okay? So,
I feel like they probably make so much money when it's like when they have like those gay night events at Disney, when it's just what do they call them?
Disney Pride? I don't know. I've never been.
I've never been. Maybe have I been once? I don't know. I feel like I've never been either. But there's a huge population of like Disney gays that like live all that for that shit. Disney's smart, man. They're not gonna like want to like not cater to us. We have all the disposable income.
Yeah, I mean, we live in Los Angeles, so we know Disneyland's down our street, but it's something you kind of take for granted, and it's not like I have any kind of objections with I don't know if they're huge internal policies of the company, but I'm not someone who goes, oh, I go there monthly, so I just
Also,
don't go.
too, like fucking Deadpool. Deadpool's queer as fuck.
Yeah, but it took them a while to merge him into the company. Right, they acquired him from Fox, so it was like this long term thing. It's
What does
you know,
that say? What does that say about Ryan Reynolds?
it's great that he wanted to champion being the queer superhero,
Ryan Reynolds is pretty queer.
even though he will probably never have any kind of actual sexual contact on screen. So then they uh metaphor it by I think he had like some really bloody car fight with Wolverine that was a stand-in for a sex scene in the most recent Deadpool movie, Deadpool and Wolverine.
No spoilers. I haven't seen it.
Oh, you poor thing.
I refuse to pay. I think it's like $25 or $24 to stream it, and I'm like, it's gonna go. Oh yeah, yeah. All right. If anybody is like listening to this podcast, can you tell me how to like change my Zoom setting to like we don't get keep getting like blurred out? Look at see how it's doing that on the camera. I'm not gonna be able to use this as video footage. That's weird.
Yeah, I had Agatha put a hex on your laptop so I wouldn't be seen on the screen.
You know Agatha personally?
Don't we all know an Agatha?
Yeah, I feel like I know some witches fucking putting hexes on me and shit. Bad juju. People just putting bad juju on me in general.
Yeah, who would cast out bad energy? That's ugly, spiritually ugly.
I don't know, but we don't want them at your bay parties.
Oh, that's right. I hope there's no witches in my bay party. We just had, that little Halloween happening, but we did no summoning rituals. But you know how I do the hand in the jar? We have to break the seal on the grease. Lately, we've been doing the great Bator balm grease, but we used to do it with albaline jars.
Yeah, shout out to Bader Bomb for coming onto the scene and providing all that great lube stuff. Because Bader Bomb's like really oh, I can't show that in the background because it's like a dick and I have to like blur it out. That painting back there. Or like that illustration.
And no shout out to albaline, who doesn't recognize Bators, and why should they?
Yeah, stop using Albaline Bros. Oh, well, okay. That's controversial. Because I feel like if people may not necessarily have the price point for to purchase Beta ROM. So Albaline is like a cheaper alternative.
I don't know. I've seen those prices fluctuate in the drugstores.
I don't think I've ever seen Albaline go any more than $20.
See, the thing is, the
14.99.
baiters are driving up that albaline economy. So it's hilarious that we end up getting shafted on the price because of that.
Well, I'm also a huge advocate of just making your own grease at home.
Yes, I believe in that.
It's a very simple formula. It's a very simple recipe that you all can find online. That's where I found mine, and I've made dozens of jars, and it'll last me months.
Listen, my first steady grease before I started buying my own little lubes was olive oil out of my kitchen. I'm sure my family was like, "What the fuck is happening? Where is this going?"
What? How do you feel about coconut oil?
I think it's wonderful. Not everyone loves the smell, but I use it to moisturize frequently, so it's part of my skin.
Is that how you keep your skin so smooth and luscious?
No, I also have my other little routines beyond that.
Maybe that's just your genetics.
Yes, it pays to be I'm not going to disclose all of my background.
Why don't you want to disclose it?
I think this also goes into again keeping something for myself, and you can project whatever you think is going on me.
Yeah, no, I feel that. You like to keep the mystery alive.
But I mean, I grew up as a black man in America, so ultimately you can end it at that.
Black don't crack, bro.
I've seen a crack in some circumstances.
Ooh, when they're not using that coconut oil.
Yes, there we go. Stay moisturized.
I know, because I'm brown too, and I get ashy too. You know, it's a myth that only black people get ashy like that. Brown people, I've seen a lot of people. My mom was a big advocate of not coconut but Vaseline.
Yeah, I don't know why that would be a myth because I've seen some very dry, pale people out there. They just don't want to call it ashy.
Um, yeah, like my mom was very like into like if you ever walked into like a Mexican Latino household, like where I grew up, like you would inevitably find like a jar of Vaseline somewhere. You use it for the elbows, the lips, everything, knees.
The Vaseline that some men like to masturbate with?
which is so bizarre to me. Like every time I see that, and I'm just like, what? It's horrific. That's scary.
No, listen, there is an archival picture at a gay pride in West Hollywood where they have someone built a jar of Vaseline as a float because it was part of gay pride in like the 70s or the 80s. I'll find that picture and send it to you. It's hilarious.
Like, but who's masturbating with Vaseline?
Because that was the only thing that was available. They didn't have the fancy lubes. I remember one of my uncles telling, a gay uncle telling me, you guys have got all these lubes and the gun oils and the boy butters, and we had to use fucking spit, okay?
Hey, I actually I personally can't no, I can't do spit. But however, I was chatting with someone just I think today, and they sent me a picture or a video of them masturbating and they had a bottle of Cetaphil. I was like, oh my God, what's happening here?
And see, that sounds so medicinal to me. I can't understand why someone's like beating it with Cetaphil.
Stop using lotion. Okay, stop right now. If you're here listening to this, get rid of your Vaseline. Only use your lotion on your elbows and get yourself some Bator Balm because that's what it's intended for.
Get yourself some Bator Balm, but also use whatever lube is wonderful on your penis, all right?
Which one?
Use whatever lube is wonderful on your penis. I don't want to tell anyone they have to subscribe to what works for someone else.
Well, no, I mean, we're giving pro tips from probators. People want to know these things.
Yes, for sure. Pro Bator Balm.
Probator bottom and the guy who makes it, Alex, he's a total baiter. You can totally see him baiting. Go follow them on Baiter Bomb. You'll see him all over the place. And so I'm a huge advocate of supporting small businesses, especially when they're baiters themselves. Like who the fuck owns Albaline? Like where are they? Where's their dick?
Yes, Alex Baderbaum hand makes it lovingly himself. So
It
support that business made for baiters by a baiter.
so inevitably just know that you'll probably get some like dick juice or like dick energy in your Baiter Bomb when you receive it at home.
Could you imagine if he was just at the factory dripping a little drop of pre-cum into every jar?
Yeah, I think that's his secret sauce. I think that's why it's so good. It's just like this magic, like doop. It's like it like just kind of disintegrates and glitters into this recipe.
All right, so let's hope that doesn't get over to the FDA or whoever else has to approve that. I think he said it's a little food grade, so yeah, he has to uh stay with some certain regulation.
And I just saw, I think on his Twitter, they saw that the Bader briefs are back. I love those briefs. Feel like those are probably some of the best briefs I've ever bought.
Yeah, please. I hope they make them in some new fun colors too. Even though I love the white dad brief, that is the ultimate for me, for anyone who follows my Twitter.
You do. You wear a lot of briefs.
Yeah, the white dad brief and the white tank top. It just feels so like gross, trashy uncle, dad, stepdad,
Yeah.
whoever that would be walking around your house and embarrass you in front of all your friends in his tight white briefs.
I feel like that's kind of like the Bader like archetype.
I wish it were, but I haven't seen like a consistent uniform.
No, you're right. I was thinking that maybe Alex should do like he should take a cue from like Kim Kardashian and make like skin color briefs. Like you have like this really cute you have these really cute like skin tone like Calvin Klein briefs that you like to sport sometimes.
Yes, that I like aggressively went to the Calvin Klein underwear outlet, well, the Calvin Klein outlet stores
Yeah.
to find because they were listed online once and I guess just
Yeah.
kind of dispersed into stores. So I'm like,
Yeah.
only I can have the nude, well, the nude that matches my skin tone, Calvin
Ex
Klein briefs.
exactly. And I just feel like that I think that's like the next big step for him. I feel like that'd be really cute to have like different color, like brown, nude, illusion going on in his Bader briefs.
Wholeheartedly agree.
If you're listening to this, Alex, and I hope that you are, there's your idea. And if you need help with the production, just reach out to homeboy over here. He'll help you out.
So I had a fun question for you. Has anyone asked you? I don't know. You know, you're in season 5 now. When did you come up with Beastly Baiter as your bait identity?
When I feel like I think I just come back. I was living in New York and I had just come back. It was probably like the first year that I was back. So that was back in 2000, 2016, 2016, 17.
Okay, so what made you go with Beastly Bator?
So it's funny. I just thought it sounded really good. I had a friend that I went to art school with who was a creative director. She had a Tumblr, and it was a sick Tumblr, and then Tumblr was called Bloody Ballroom or Bloody Ballroom, and I just thought those two words sounded really cute together. Like it just rolled off the tongue. So then I was just like, oh, like I'm gonna like. It was a decision I made that I was like, oh, I'm gonna finally just show off and get in line, and I'm gonna come onto the scene. But I was like, I didn't want to use my real name, so I was like, let me just create like this thing. And I was literally like sitting around like writing down names that sounded cute together. Um, and I think the first iteration of that was Beastly Beggar. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I thought it was funny because we both have the BB, Brother Bator, Beastly Bator.
yeah.
I mean
Because
Bator. Hello.
yeah, it sounds good. And then like I think I was like meant to use Beastly Beggar in order to move on and evolve into Beastly Bader. And so I just took out the beggar and added Bader, and I was like, oh, perfect, sounds great.
That's it. Like,
Yeah, and then I never really thought that people would think that like because I chose the word beastly in my alias that I'd be heavily into bestiality. It never crossed my mind.
wait, do people approach you about that all the time? What's going on?
All the time. Like people will be like, "Why do you call yourself BC Beta?" And then people will just send me emojis of like dogs and chickens and pigs, and I'll just be like, "The pig I get. It's always the one that get me is with the dog."
Yeah, you always have to scream, please leave your dogs in all the barnyard alone.
I'm just like, "Hey, I'm not attracted to Lassie. That's not my gig." But yeah.
Wait, so do you ever put on a pig nose and bait then?
I feel like if I had one, I probably would. I do have a lot of like the um, Jesus, what is that line? The pig line, the
Oh,
Fast and
nasty pig.
Nasty Pig. I do have a lot of their caps.
Okay, so you're not a furry baiter.
No, I feel like the beast. When I think about it now, like the beastly for me is really just more like my attitude. I'm very beastly about things. I'm like rough around the edges. I can be really standoffish. I could be really like um not argumentative, but like really passionate, aggressive, I guess. Beastly in a way. Like I can come across that way to a lot of people, and so I feel like it suits me.
I fully understand it, and I never had any confusion that it was bestiality baiter, just to clarify.
Well, what did you think when you first heard Beastly Bader?
No, I'm understanding exactly what you said to me. Like, I understand beastly, like, yeah, I'm a beast, as opposed to what other people misinterpreted it for.
Do you think that fits me though? Like my energy, like now that you've known me,
Yes, absolutely.
good or bad?
In a good way, yes.
Okay, good. I only want it to be good. I just know myself well enough that like I'm very like when I meet new people, I'm not the warmest individual, and it's something that I'm trying to like work on more myself. But I know myself well enough to understand that it's all trauma based.
Okay, I mean, I'm glad you're working on it and developing
Thanks.
beyond the trauma, I should hope.
Thanks. Yeah, because I feel like I'm a very warm individual. Like I'm just like when you get to know me, I think that's where I'm at in my life, where I just feel like, and I think I was like that with you. Like when I first met you, like when I first was trying to talk to you, like I was very like distant, not very engaged, and like just kind of like standoffish because I was just like, I think in the time that I've met, I'd gone through like two really bad like long-term friendship breakups, and I was like, I don't feel like doing this again, and like it's just not something that I wanted to do. And I feel like I'm a warmer person when I do have like a more of a one-on-one connection with somebody. Like as much as I enjoy going to your parties, like those are like fleeting moments for me. I go there to experience a sexual moment with like different people, but when I leave, I'm not making that connection with everyone.
Yeah, I hear that, and it's something that I don't. often experience at large because again, 90% of these guys are someone that I've made a kind of long form bond with
Yeah.
before starting this group at large. But I definitely feel that where I put a lot of energy into friendship that I feel is genuine. So I'm very much someone who does not use friend lightly. Um, we have to have spent some
Oh,
time actually wanting to get to know each other, not just doing some kind of casual, arbitrary hangout where you just do something on the surface, like go to lunch and then don't really talk about yourselves, or go to a bait group and we've grabbed each other's penis and drooled in each other's mouths, but and then someone calls you a friend after that. But you need to establish something a little more with someone before you should say, yeah, this is my friend. Like, I trust this person to come to my house. And when we engage with each other, we uh, add this kind of energy to each other that makes me feel great about myself, makes me feel great that I know this person. And that's how I approach it.
yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think that's why you hesitated coming on this podcast for so long, TBH.
Yeah, yeah. I would not have had a podcast conversation with you if we were just talking to each other after meeting, after grabbing each other's penises.
Well, I think, yeah, no, I think that's like, I think that's, I think that's normal. I think also too, like I feel like I've had so many different episodes and people have listened to it and I think people understand like the theme of the podcast. Like I'm not here to like, cause drama or like be nasty to people or that's just not my vibe. And so people are more inclined to like be on it. Like he's not like a hostile interviewer or like someone that's gonna like, ask it, the the deep questions.
Oh, so you don't have a Bate Escape handbook, your little playbook that you refer to and say, okay, I'm going to talk about this, and here's the talking points, and this is what this person does, and I'm always going to ask this.
I mean, I feel like I probably should. But I feel like my vibe is more of like because I'm genuinely interested in the person that I'm speaking to, and so like I feel like for me, like if I have, sure, I can probably do. I could probably be more efficient with like talking points, but I don't have any of that most of the time. I'm like genuinely just listening to you speak and then finding interesting things in the conversation that we're having and then like just kind of like riffing off of that.
Oh, like usernames, for instance. Do you always ask people about usernames? Like, has anyone asked you about yours before?
I mean, I feel like people have asked me on this pod. I mean, I get it all the time. But like, especially like new baiters, like people who are new to this scene, they're just like, oh, like, why do you call yourself this? Why do you call yourself that? But like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever really shared like publicly like where the name came from. I think you're the first person to ask me that.
Yeah, because funny, weird private joke for me, brother baiter. Um,
Yeah, where'd that come from?
so I am a junior named after my father, and none of my siblings, I have a number of siblings, call me by my first name. They just call me brother because I'm the oldest brother. So I've constantly held this as a title. And then when I came into my bait brotherhood and everyone calls each other brother because of the brotherhood at large, I just thought it was very funny for me to go, I've gone by this personally my entire life. So Brother Bader was very fitting for me.
Yeah, I just that's really cool. And also too, just again, like I think the BB words, like just having the two words start with the same letter just rolls off the tongue.
I absolutely have an alliteration kink. So it worked out in all kinds of beautiful ways for me.
Speaking of beautiful, you come from a very beautiful family.
Since when?
Since you show me pictures of your family.
Oh, they're all made in AI.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Okay, yeah.
I've seen pictures.
And again, being a junior of my father, I hate when people go, "Oh my God, you look just like your dad." I'm like, no. The combination of my dad and my mom, I look much better than my dad.
You showed me pictures of your dad back in the day. Your dad's very handsome.
He's all right. See, and the funny thing is, he's a fraternal twin, so I constantly would see like my father and his twin together, and then go, I actually think I look like my uncle more.
Oh, I don't know. I want to see pictures of your uncle now.
No, that's okay.
Okay. That's fine. What is the goal of Phallus Palace? Like, is it gonna stay this way, or like, do you like? I don't know. Like, what is the future growth of that?
Well, it's really tied to the place, the venue of it, being that I'm in this great industrial loft with a lot of space. Shout out to my roommate who bought it in 2002 back when no one wanted to live in downtown LA. It was too sketchy, but he went, "Oh my God, this is the size of a house, so I'm buying this right now."
It's a
So
great space.
so I'm fortunate to also be living there. I've known my roommate for 15 years. And so when I moved in, I kind of looked at the bones of it and was like, okay, this is going to work. And then of course, fucking the COVID stay at home order happened. So we had a big gap year, but
Yeah.
thankfully some of us lived.
Okay, so I feel like the million-dollar question is, how does one get invited to a party, a bait party at Phallus Palace?
At the moment, it's mostly been referrals. It's usually, someone has a great time, and then they also have their little bait buddies that they have one-on-ones with, and they're like, I'd really love him to come to this group and experience this group. He's never been to on this scale. So, I'm gonna pass your number to him, and so very quickly, if you'd like to come, you could message me on Twitter, but I had to close my Twitter DMs because I was getting a lot of just kind of one word DMs from people going, "Hey, I want to come to your place," and I'm
I
like,
get
"Hi,
that a lot.
hi, are you in Los Angeles?" And
No.
no, I'm in I don't want to single out any one country or city, but it's always somewhere that's completely impossible to travel to from. So I'm like, I have these things in my profile. It says that I'm in Los Angeles. Do you think that we travel around? I don't know.
Well, yeah. So, that's important to know. I mean, maybe people don't have an understanding of that. Is like this party does not travel. Like you are based in Los Angeles. The party happens in LA. It's not like you take this on the road and like go anywhere. But if people listen to my podcast, past episodes, I talk to a lot of different hosts from a lot of different parties, like parties in Texas and parties in Colorado. So like they exist in your city somewhere. So like if you're close by to those vicinities, check those out. But yeah, Phallus Palace doesn't travel, it stays local.
Yeah, again, I'm a one-man operation running this out of my home. That's a generous space, and decide I need to take up the reins because at the time, Los Angeles, like bait clubs had evaporated. There was Angel City Jacks. There's also LAX Jacks, but they kind of formulated very recently too. So they have a website, they have membership, and so you can absolutely go and join them. That's very easy. But mine has always been by word of mouth because of the fact that I operate in such a way where I want to get to know someone because you're in my home, and I like having some kind of entry camaraderie with you.
Well, I think also too that's what makes it feel safe because I feel like you can essentially vouch for people.
Yes, precisely.
Like you'd be like, because I've gone into your party and be like, oh, like I've seen them around. Like, are they cool? Are they chill? Like, I want to know. And then you're just like, yeah, yeah, no, they're fine. Like I baited with them. They're gonna be fun. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I may give you some tips of like, hey, this is what resonates with him, and yeah,
You do that. You do. You do be like, why don't you go over there and make sure you talk about X, Y, and Z because I feel like they'll really jive. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
yeah, introduce yourself, go and just with consent touch someone's penis, and sometimes it just sparks from there.
Sparks, Jordan Sparks. Whatever happened to Jordan Sparks?
I don't know, wasn't there a single from Hillary Duff called Sparks?
It's such a bop. I'm surprised you even know that.
Listen, it what was that not? Listen, she came to Rise before 2010, and I told you that's my cutoff. Maybe that single was afterward, but I don't know.
That's actually pretty shocking that you actually.
Listen, I remember her having purple hair in the music video. And I was like, oh, look at her. She's wow.
Yeah, and there was like a fun whistle in that. Wasn't there like a cool
Yeah,
whistle?
there's a whistle in the hook. And the
I'm gonna
chorus.
I'm gonna go listen to that now.
All right, let's get it.
Speaking of divas, are you into the new Lady Gaga?
I have not listened to her since her first tracks. I remember very prominently Being in a gay club when Just Dance dropped.
Wow, bro. You're late on the train, brother.
So I remember like looking at her and going, why is she wearing those glasses all the time? But yeah, I haven't followed up her music since then.
Okay, you heard it here first. Brother Bader lives under a rock.
Happily so.
He lives under a glorious rock full of penis.
But again, there's just
What a life.
so much music in the catalogs that like I have just not touched and explored. So I'm really in there, and I don't use the streaming devices. So I'm really like someone who still goes to the record stores and gets a CD, loads it to my drive, and then listens to it. Like,
Like you listen to CDs?
well, they're digitized. I still have a computer that I can put the CD in the drive and digitize it to my music library, and then I can listen to the music as opposed to all the streaming devices.
Wow.
The closest thing I'll use is YouTube because you can just go on there and type in everything and then make your little playlists.
Yeah, you can see all the cool videos.
Yeah, but I mean, is anyone putting stock into music videos anymore? I wish they would, but it's everyone makes 2 minute songs. Why is that even long enough for a music video now?
Yeah, I mean, go check out Lady Gaga's new video. It's the shit.
Is it a 2 minute song?
No, it's like almost a 4 minute track.
Oh, well, good for her that she had.
Because Lady Gaga's a real artist. Are you not, little monster? Come on. Don't alienate all the beta little monsters out there.
I'm not alienating anybody, but I will say when I'm baiting, I can't listen to any music that has female vocals. Please don't file me under misogyny. I just don't think it's cute and sexy because I want to masturbate and vibe in something that isn't high pitch and
Let's just say you're very specific about curating an atmosphere of penis and energy.
that is correct because I used to go to the bathhouses and create bait scenes and then feel like the bathhouse staff had done something to sabotage me because all of a sudden we'd be hearing Donna Summer and then you could see some queen like swaying his hips like he was at the disco,
Hey,
which is a vibe too, but it's just not sexy for me.
nothing wrong with Donna Summer.
No, not at all.
R.I.P.
All the way.
But I also too, I think when I go to your parties, it's a very you and I think it fits the mood too. It's like those bait tracks where it's just like those heavy like um repetitive like sounds, and it's just like penis, 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 like over and over again.
Yeah, that's right. When you go into the men's room specifically, I put the
Yeah.
little jukebox in there. That's just bait chanting.
See, this is what I'm saying. Okay, people need to like check out like if you're so lucky to be invited or like talk to Brother Bader and like get an access to this Phallus Palace party. I think people really enjoy it because you do curate a space. Like again, like I said, like your space is so like fun to look at, and it's like a really nice moment that you put together. Like you have like towels out, you have like poppers and like out, baiter bomb, and there's a shower available, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah, I said bring your own towel because I'm not doing laundry for 50 some baiters.
That's right. It's BYLP. Bring your own poppers.
Yes, for the most part, yeah.
Okay, where can people find you on social media? I'm looking at your social media now.
Let's see. I think I'm only listed on Twitter, or now we call it X.
Yeah.
So that would be at Brother Bator, all one word together, BROTHERBATOR.
Yeah. Um, Go check out that new Dick Retreat post and see if you can spot me in that picture. Um, I like your X. It's fun. It's very eclectic and it's very representative of you.
Yeah, I also think of it as a zine because I like to publish really Bator focused content, and sometimes I delete things. So it's like if you miss that issue, oh well.
Yeah, you gotta get it while it's hot. Media. Oh, look at that booty. Got the ass shot out with your orange socks. Are you fucking that pumpkin?
No, I'm just rubbing my penis on it.
Nice, nice. Okay, so you're only on X then. Are you on any kind of other social media?
Yeah, I used to be on Bait World, of course, but I'm not quite sure why I deleted it. I just stopped using it at some point because the paid subscription was great and beneficial, but I'm not so much of a cam baiter, and that's the greatest benefit of being on a paid subscription on Bait World.
Well, that's what I want to ask you. What are your thoughts on bait mates?
I've not yet signed up to it. I need to do that just because I need to get into the community aspect of it. Yes.
Um, he was supposed to be on my show, or he was supposed to be on the podcast, but I feel like he was busy launching the thing. I have it. I don't think again, I myself am not the biggest cam baiter, so I feel like it might not necessarily be like the avenue in which I go to. However, like using it, the interface, like it's very baiter focused. It's very like Zoom, like video chat party, like Zoom party shit.
Yeah, and to clarify, I'm not a content creator at large, so I'm not really motivated to spread my name all over all the outlets and go, oh, Brother Bear here, just because, and then lead to my subscription links, which is, again, not disparaging that. It's just, I approach my masturbation content in a way that's like, when I feel like throwing it out there, here it is. I almost always do something for every Phallus date, just because, to commemorate that, I need to, when I'm in my Beta retirement community village as an elder, I can go and look back and go, oh, look, you guys, this is what I used to do.
Well, you have like a tradition. Like I feel like you take like the newbies and then you have them like dip their hand in the thing, and that's kind of like your like a thing.
Yes, yes, they
Yeah.
always have new baiters come and dip their hands into the grease jar, whatever it is we're masturbating with,
The
and that
Bader bomb jar.
that anoints them into Phallus Palace. Yes.
Yeah, it's nice. It's fun. It's like a little anointment.
Yeah, do you remember being baptized for it your first time?
I do. Yeah. I feel like it's probably on your Twitter somewhere. And I'm sure that I retweeted it or reposted it.
Yeah, I think I grabbed your hand, I put it in there, and then I put it on your penis, and then we also dunked your head into the jar too.
Let's not talk about that. Hey, thanks for being on my pod. I'm glad that you finally agreed to do it. And I think creators listening to this, people listening to this, are gonna find it really joyful and fun and exciting that you talked about yourself a little bit.
I was never here.
This whole entire conversation has been AI.
This message will self-destruct in five, four, three.
And with that, I want to thank everybody for listening. I am your host, Beastly Bader. Thank you for following this pod. Hey, go leave a comment and rate this pod and give it a high rating because it helps visibility. And we want more people to know about Bader shit because penises are hot. Or baiting is hot.
Masturbate penis.
Masturbate penis. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for listening. Again, I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Brother Bader. Go follow them on X. Their handle is Brother Bader. Very simple and easy. And I will see you on the next episode of the Bate Escape podcast. Bye. All right. Well, now you know a lot more about one of your favorite Gooner Baiters, Brother Bader. I hope that you loved, enjoyed listening to that episode. Again, a fascinating person, eclectic, interesting individual. Go follow them. All of their socials, they're on X and they're on Blue Sky at Your Brother Bader. Say hello. Tell them that you heard them on the Beta Escape podcast and that you really enjoyed it. As always, remember to subscribe, comment, share, um, follow, all that good stuff. Again, I'm your host, BC Bader. You can follow all my socials under that handle. And again, thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.